Moscow time is afternoon. And this is time to select best framework for Python. Everybody who are in the back, please sit down. Because this is IT event, so at the first line, at the first row, we always have seats, and on the second as well. And right now on the stage, the guys will come and I will announce them, and you will give your hands. Luzhniki, applaud you. Oksana Yemelicheva, speaker, chief engineer, developer.
Бам!
Bam.
Тарасов, Альфа-банк, ведущий
Artyom Tarasov, Alpha Bank, lead developer, who helps gets to enter technical universities, and this will be moderated by a person
Enterprise на Python.
who pulls enterprise on Python many years.
Петров, точку!
Igor Hitrov.
Друзья, у вас 20
Boom.
минут,
Okay, you have 20 minutes.
Всем еще раз привет.
а вы не подеретесь.
Hi, everybody. You're not going to fight?
Да, я тут так только.
Well, maybe they won't. I'm just going to be standing outside and looking at them.
Такой формат.
Okay, right now we're going to have the following format. I will ask questions to the guys, questions which are usually asked by people who are studying frameworks and selecting them. They will answer them in the format of discussions, and we are going to have 8 minutes per question. These are not 1 hour, 2 hours battles, very short ones. And then it's going to be your first presentation like that. So please support them, the support group. Okay, support them, please.
На конференциях новые спикеры.
There should be new faces, new speakers on the conference, so please support them.
Итак, собственно,
Definitely.
вопрос к вам, ребята.
My first question to you guys. What about the speed of your frameworks? Oksana represents Django developers.
Вот насколько быстро
FastUp, Artyom represents. And how fast are your frameworks? Okay, Django, that's sensible. Why didn't you like Django and you haven't had FastUpper? Django was asynchronous and it worked very slow. I wanted something faster. I wanted something simpler with less elements. Everybody knows that Django pulls a lot of things under its hood, a lot of dependencies. I wanted to have more flexibility, more speed, be faster, invent FastUp, and many other things like micro frameworks.
Python стал быстрее, Python стал более лучшим языком.
Python became faster. It became a better language for the backend. And there's a lot of people who are writing FastUp, who are writing with all popular microservices. And microservices are very cool. They can work with micro frameworks where every domain is separated into microservices, and this is a FastUp container. Not even in the FastUp, Blackstar, Black Sheep, any other micro framework which works with some asynchronous web server with supervisor and works as fast as possible. Works fast. Why? Because asynchronicity in Python
Крутая валидация, pydentic, message
and very cool identic message spec validation, which gives you
круто.
good quality, very cool and wonderful. It is obvious that it is faster. It is obvious that it is faster. And just recently, there was something that in FastUp just 1 month ago, it was 2,000 stars ahead of Django for a very long period of time. And that's a moment that has to be celebrated. And what Django will reply to this? Well, my main question, Django is synchronous. Everybody knows about that. But what is the problem if you don't have enough those milliseconds that we're speaking about? Why don't you add some hardware? This can be solved totally differently. It's expensive. It's cheaper than replacing the developer. Well, I'll give you the following answer. On FastUp, if you want to write a P handler, you need to write 20 lines. We hire Wipe Coder, and with a neural network writes something pretty cool. And it's going to be a cheap developer, but hardware is very expensive, and we work for the business. Business doesn't like to give a lot of money for the hardware. While this hardware is spent for increasing SLA, 999, and we have to work fast, fail-free. Well, selecting good path, initially it's the fastest way. For example, we have a client coming to us, and we need to write something. We will select something faster so that we don't shoot our foot.
вся команда разработки.
it will select Django if the whole team of developers works on Django.
Впоследствии можем попасть в
Then, as a consequence, we will be
и изначально
working slowly
неправильное такое решение.
and we'll find ourselves in a mess. But what do you mean under slow? In which context you're speaking? If you're speaking about RPS, Django has introduced in version 5 support of synchronicity, and it supports another protocol as well. And right now they're continuing upgrading it, and it's not a final option. At a given moment of time, there are places which don't make it speed it up faster, but compared to Django 4, Django 5 shows 10 times more resilience.
Хороший в целом тейк. Про какую скорость мы говорим?
Yeah, it depends on which speed we're speaking about. We're writing in Python, but we're speaking about the speed of latency RPS. It is important to say that web framework is the intermediate between you and database. You know, with our hands, we go to the database. And if we are speaking about asynchronous Django version 5, then there are some disadvantages that under the hood, you will always have synchronous requests to the database. It was correct. It will be corrected. This will be corrected, but not corrected yet. That's why we select FastApp. They do everything in small steps, gradually, because this is something that includes everything. And it is being released in small pieces, gradually, in small steps. They're moving in the direction of creating good competition. And right now it has everything. This is a framework which supports 2 protocols. It can work well with typical objectives, tasks, and other ones. I'm not going to argue. Slow, gradual steps, that's good, but we need speed here now. Let's better discuss Python 3.13, Node.jl. There are new things, free trading, those who've seen it, they love it. How this will touch microframeworks and Django microframeworks will get great growth, but Node.jl will influence it because they will speed up, there will be sub-interpreters, and all these behind the microframework, which are small FastApp, Lightstar, Black Sheep, and others. But speaking about Django, what can I say about that? How this will influence Django? Django 5, it will influence the same way. It will be faster because it has the same asynchronicity. They also introduce it. And when they will introduce Node.jl, the RAM will be completed by the time and it's going to fly. Well, it's not there. Yeah. Let's remember that Commander and many people were fired, so Node.jl we're not going to see expected soon enough. You have 2 more minutes about performance, and I understand your thought, but whether everything is bad, so good about FastApp, about the speed. Yeah, by the way, there are some narrow moments with middleware. Yes, there are, but if you're not taking HTTP middleware, but you rewrite it with your own decorators, lighter ones are appeared, then you get away from this problem, or totally it's a kind of crutch solution, transfer some middleware to Nginx, and then you will get very high speed. And even with regular middleware, if you look at bench cycler power and you will bench it yourself, in all the cases, even with small requests, you will get microframework win. And it tells you something that microframeworks are faster, higher, and better.
Да, есть как бы проблема с middleware, безусловно.
Yes, there is a problem with middlewares, but microframeworks, they tell us that we can take it ourselves, remove it, and write something new. We don't have strict connection that middleware is connected to us and we cannot remove it, and there's going to be a speed problem. Yes, we choose it and we become faster without any problems. What about dependence? What can you say about that? This is also a gap. It's a convenient point. Yeah, we hear that. Django is also convenient. Everything is in one place. You should not invent anything. But there's a lot of problems in Django as well. Or rent problem with a lot of dependencies. Yes, there is some disadvantage on the side of FastApp with depends, but it's convenient to use it. Pretty cool. You don't have to build heavy hierarchies. Oh, you speed and we're very fast, but it's very convenient. You don't stand. It's different. Yeah, of
Кстати, ты
course.
говоришь как раз по поводу удобства.
By the way,
Давай.
you speak about the convenience. Okay, let's speak about it as well.
Часто люди спрашивают и сравнивают, а
People very often ask and compare,
что есть
what about the project structure? Because
есть какая-то уже
SocialJan, there's
у Фастапе.
well-known structure, FastUp also has something,
Как фреймворк
but
навязывает
how the framework implies the architecture or structure of the project. How do you put folders, modules? Because people perceive it differently. In Django, everything is clearly understandable. It has a structure. It's clearly to understand where to write, what to write, where to look, and it has its advantages because you can open any projects, and knowing how to write a project in Django, you will understand where to look for what, where you will have your handlers, where you will have the models, where do you need to look, any library that you're using. In the same way, you open it as a white page and you understand it. You don't have to understand this code, dig in it. You should understand the idea of the author. Another thing that I would like to point out is that in Django, in addition to the fact that it has a structure, it's all well documented, and you don't even have to find any third-party source to understand how it should look like. You have only one book of truth, which is telling you what is where, and every symbol, every character is described over there, and all the questions which you might have, they are described there. Well, that's advantage and that's disadvantage as well, because we all, when we see the problem, we create our own framework because, and why doesn't it work as I want it? We have clear structure. Those who work in backend, they understand that we have some feature, we need controllers, we need some unit of work, we need routes, and we need to communicate with database through some repositories. We all understand this structure, and we make it as it is convenient to us. We don't have some strict fixation, which I think it's not something that we need. You have different microservices, different services, and what clean architecture is working for you, that's what you choose. That's pretty cool when you have some implied things, but it's not implied by you, it was implied from above. It's not super clean architecture when if you read it with all the minuses, when you have choice to choose something implied and something that has strictly fixed, or choose something flexible and build clear architecture from the scratch. If you read a couple of books about architecture, then you will build clean architecture. You will document it. Yes, you'll spend a little bit more time, but at the same time, you will have clear understanding of your own structure and where you should move and how to do it. But at the same time, there could be a problem that only you can read it and you can think that this is cool structure, but some other person will come to this project and he will get lost. In Django, there is no problem like that. You can open any project and be able to read it. All the libraries that you are using, source code, you open the source code and you perfectly understand what it's all about. Well, we have a totally separate conversation about our source codes in FastUp. Yeah, let's go to Light Start and we'll speak about Light Start. It's much cleaner. No problems. Let's read the source code and we'll figure it out. If you need connected structure, there are many of those on the GitHub. You can find one that is flexible, applicable for you. You select something that works for you. You select something that is convenient to you. And I think that this is an advantage for the micro framework. Well, I'll give you something about architecture and not just about the structure of folders. How this helps to new developers. For example, you with Junior, you gave something to Junior to roll into the project. On one side, you have very tough hierarchy of files, some architecture, some possibilities, and full freedom. How can they influence? It's simple. You have documentation, take a developer, give him, he read it, that's it. Project is clear. Web framework documentation, yeah, for Django. because everything is described pretty well. If documentation seems too big, and for people like that, there are several guides, short one.
Мы берем фреймворк,
Remember yourself, we take a framework, but the communication, we create CRUDs as fast as possible, and then we
эпоха, да,
are learning about it.
кодеры, все дела.
And during the development of neural networks,
Кстати, вам гораздо быстрее.
it seems that on FastApp it's going to be much faster, and you will create more handlers than in Django.
Именно кривая вот этого обучения.
And this learning curve,
Django
and how to learn in FastApp and Django. For the novices, FastApp is going to be a winning one because it's simpler,
уже
it has 20 lines, and you created a handler, and then you attach something that you want. But if you are the beginner, if you are junior, if you want to find out something from the beginning, you don't have to connect a middleware.
временем как бы step-by-step
With time, on a step-by-step basis, you will come to the situation that you can do this, you can do that, you can do that. And you're not going to spend a lot of time for just simply launching the project, which is available in Django. You will have a lot of folders and nobody knows what they're for. Yes, you'll open documentation, but it's easy. If you'll do it yourself from the scratch, then, for example, you know nothing, you're junior, you will do it bad. You will make errors. Everywhere you can make errors. Django is not going to permit you to do that. It will give you a possibility to develop your clean architecture the way you want it, invent something you want, but at the same time you will have thresholds and borders which will not put you to shame.
у меня есть прям
Okay, honestly, I have counter-argument to that.
MLDS, и почему же
MLDS epoch, and why all the MLs and data scientists select micro-frameworks for their fast deployments and not Django? Well, most likely because it doesn't matter for them whether should they go to the back, it doesn't matter how the 12 layers of middleware is working in classes, how do they interrelate with each other. You take micro-framework, you roll out the model, here it is, no problems, and then you go and create feed predicts for yourself.
это, мне кажется,
MLDS friendly.
за сторону
It's a very good point for the side of the framework, micro-frameworks.
ну,
But this is a totally different path of development.
разработчиков,
Yeah, we take juniors in the back end, data scientists, and they choose, as we see it from statistics,
в бэкэнде.
that juniors, Django is for totally different purposes, what it can be used for. Yes, of course, you can say so, but the main advantages of Django, what are they? What comes out of the box? Everything. It has everything you need. It has ORM, it has admin, it has authorization, and you don't have to think about it. It will think about you, about security. You just came, you write, and if you will connect some DRF frameworks, you don't have to, well, it will take 2 minutes to deploy all the CRUD handlers. Okay, ORM, take the Alchemy. Everybody loves it. Admin, people install FastApp admin. That's it. You have the administration console. About Lightstar and everything else, I won't even speak. Some people deny it, but okay, a little bit, you'll have to sweat, but yes, here it is. What kind of admin? Why do we need admin to deploy the model or some microservice?
Кажется, что, опять же,
And I think that ORM has a lot of problems. From this point of view, Alchemy is very flexible. You can replace anything, configure. If you don't like Alchemy, you will select under ORM. If you don't like something else, super influenced by Django, you'll select something else. But if they give you a lot of tools and you cannot select the best and convenient for you, well, this is more a disadvantage than advantage. Why? You have everything. Some parts of the framework, if you don't like them, you can complete it, finish it. For example, you're like playing puzzle, and out of these puzzle pieces, you create a picture. You don't need to create those new puzzle pieces and color them. Everything's ready. You take ORM. Yes, the Alchemy is different from Django ORM. Django has more abstractions from this point of view.
ну, как бы полная свобода архитектуры, да? Мне кажется,
Full architectural freedom.
подбора деталек.
And I think this is the time of, the time of selecting the details. Everybody, the microservices are more convenient than monolith, and it's fashionable to create these puzzles, element to element, like Lego are being assembled, and the full freedom of architecture.
Собираем то, что нам нужно, без
Really, we assemble something we need without being implied.
мысль, то есть мы
Okay, let's open this idea. We're speaking about freedom and implications, but what about the quality of architecture? Because as a person who's been writing in Django, FastApp, and other microframeworks, I know problems exist everywhere, both from the admin point of view or RAM point of view. What can you say according to your observations and experience? Which projects did you see and how good were they in your frameworks? For example, you come, you look, oh, FastApp, okay, same sheet as in the first service I've been, and here same thing. You come to Django, oh my God, the same problem, same bad developers been writing it. What about that? Well, you can do on Django whatever you want to do. It doesn't limit you on the selection of architecture. From the developer, architecture depends.
Переформулирую. Как
Okay, let's rephrase it. How often did you see good quality project with this architecture? Because we've been speaking about the freedom of choice, but
как по вашим
or limitations. But how, according to your observations, it was influencing in good sense or in bad sense? Architectural freedom was leading to good solutions, but not a lot of spaghetti code when people don't understand what was being written, and they have been limited so much and they didn't get what they wanted to get. Yes, I would like to add to this. Statistically, I've seen projects with micro frameworks which were done on a good quality level. Of course, you enter some Gina account on GitHub and you will see a lot of spaghetti code which is unclear and mixed up. But both in Django, I've seen pretty cool projects. The thing is that we've been speaking about flexibility. If there are cool developer who can assemble machine from Lego, he will do it. If he can create some kind of a small house from Lego, he will do it, and he won't be able to do anything else. So from this point of view, flexibility is both advantage and disadvantage. And with Django, they assemble very often big houses, big things. So on the FastApp, you've seen good code. No, I'm speaking about micro frameworks in general. I've seen more good code than bad one. And speaking about very good and cool code, not on GitHub. On GitHub, the code is bad, closed, and in your corporate repository, it's better. Well, you can say it both. On GitHub, there's a lot of cool things as well, if you know where to search. But in closed ones, they write cool things. Well, in Django, there are cool projects, and I've seen a lot of them, and people do a lot of surprising things, where in Django, you cannot even trace of it. You open it, and you'll be surprised that things like that can be done with this framework. You've seen it inside of the company? You can look at a lot of the libraries written in Django. Well, let's not speak about libraries, but services or some examples of services. You've seen it both, and mostly this was good code. Of course, there is bad code, but more often. But what do you see more? Good or bad? More good code. Because people who start writing big projects, they already understand how it should look like, and they understand the structure, and they make it beautiful. More good code, because you don't look at the bad one. True. Of course, she's looking at her favorite Django, as we all look in our favorite framework. Okay, our time is coming to an end. Let's try to look who selected framework. So, who votes for FastApp? Give your hands.
Так, отлично. А теперь кто за Django?
Okay, and those who votes for Django? Clap your hands. It's 50-50. No winners.
Ладно, давай мы этот холивар, так сказать, и чего больше у них.
Okay, let's stop this holy war. Who's more?
Все мы знаем, что FastApp.
In the recording, we know that FastApp.
Вот, на этом,
Wrong.
на этом я хочу, ребят,
Everybody selects Django.
что пришли.
So thank you very much for participation, for coming to this battle, sharing your experience and knowledge. Let's give our hands to speakers.
Спасибо большое.
Thank you very much.
По идее, у нас все. Я
И
возвращаю микрофон тебе.
через 6 минут мы
And in 6 minutes,
здесь говорить про VS.
next speaker will speak about VS Code. Break. Thank you. You are beautiful.